Got it. Excellent. Well, hey, welcome everybody. This is exciting to get started again on the student showcase. My name's Freddie Martin. I'm I me and Nate Naverson have been partners on a lot of things over the last few years, and it's just pretty exciting to work together on this as well, with a really amazing crew of educators and industry professionals who are just passionate about building up the next generation of themed entertainment and technical marvels, which are you. So we're glad that you're here and super excited to get started this year. Last year, some of the most amazing projects came out of it, and conversations that are moving into career moments. And so it's pretty spectacular to see what this is doing. So if you're in this Zoom, you're in the right place. This is a really awesome place to begin. And as you're looking forward to June and signing off and putting your feet up or floating the creek or whatever it is you do to unwind from the school year, this is the chance to dive in even deeper. So we're excited that you're here. As we get started, I want to introduce Peter Weissar and Christian Rogers to talk briefly about the themed experience and attractions academic society, and then we'll dive into a little more information. Peter and Christian.
Thanks. So it's a related organization to what this is here. It's TEAAS, Themed Experience and Attractions Academic Society. And I think every full-time academic that's on this call is either a member or involved and or spoken at our symposium. So if you go to our website, you can join for free. We have an annual symposium. It's just $60 for the entire day, including a lunch and the full day of programming. We have an academic journal that is a jury journal that's pretty interesting for there, as well as a listing of all of the programs that are in the industry. So if you're interested in going to graduate school or finding colleagues or other students that are studying what you're studying, the TEAS is an excellent way to connect to other people there. Chris is the chair of our communications committee, and he's just redone our website. So I don't know, do you have more to add, Chris?
No, you actually did a great job, Peter. That new website's due to go live any day now. But we actually also do have students that have presented. And so obviously we have a certain level of rigor for those presentations, but we've had specifically graduate students who have presented in the past. And so that's something to consider if you would have any interest in doing so. And we've had students present in live, but also do create posters as well, where we do a poster showcase during the lunch hour. So just something else to consider.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys for sharing that with us. MK Haley put the link to it in the chat, so please do grab that and follow along. Nathan Naverson, founder of the Themed Attraction website, and he's a good friend. He's going to talk to you about the showcase and the scoring rubric here for a bit. So listen up, take notes. This is big.
Yeah, and also this will be recorded and posted on the Themed Attraction website coming up. But a couple things just for encouragement. This is not American Idol where you're going to get ripped to shreds, and it's not the Shark Tank. The goal is to get you positive feedback, and so some contests, like for example, the Storyland has one that's out now, and you can win some money. You don't get money from this at all, and that's not the intention. The purpose is to help you make connections and get your best portfolio piece in front of companies that may be able to hire you. Hint, hint. The goal here is that you can put up whatever you want. It is a showcase. So if you're a really good show writer, you can put up show writing and just say, this is my thing, and I want to be scored based on this, or I'm a great illustrator and I'm just putting up drawings, and that's all you're doing. But you can do complete projects as well. So it's whatever your best portfolio piece is, and we guarantee that several of our panelists will get you, and I'm going to let Lewis in right now and Jeremy. Okay. good solid feedback on your work. And so hopefully it will, number one, help you. And then also, if you happen to take away an award, then you can put that on your resume and you might make a connection with someone that might lead to a job somewhere down the road, which is wonderful. So schedule wise, in 3 days, so it's the 12th today, on the 15th, the upload portal opens and you can upload your project. You'll have 2 weeks to do that. We're going to do it exactly like last year. I'm going to actually post a video and we'll put it on the sign up website. And I'll send you a link to it if you have sent your sign up form to us. That will explain how to do that. I'll also give you my personal contact information so that if you get stuck, that you can, you're not trying to be a webmaster here. You can just go in and get all your stuff, and I'll help you make it look good. So you're working on your project, not on being a webmaster. So, so on April 30th, the portal will close, and then the panelists will begin their scoring. They'll have 15 days from May 1st to May 15th to do all their scoring. The scoring will be weighted. So if you're a freshman who lives in Addis Ababa and you have you don't have Disney Imagineers in your backyard giving, presentations and whatnot, you will be, so it's as first year, second year students, you'll be weighted with a slight advantage versus graduates and interns. If you are graduated within a year, you're still eligible to submit. And then also teams have a disadvantage against individuals. So if you're an individual who's a first year student without very much, you get a little bit of an advantage versus someone who's on a team and works with a lot of different people. So I will say that. Make sure you create a profile on themedattraction.com that protects our panelists, basically saying you're not going to sue anybody when your idea looks like something that they do at any time in the future. And then also make sure you have the name of your project on that little mail-in form that you send. So that's that. And then after that, we will score them and then announce the results. I will say this about the scoring. At least 2 years ago, and by the way, last year we had people submit by categories, and that didn't work so well. It was a good intention, trying to pair show writers with show writers, etc. But a lot of times good projects were not scored properly because they were in the wrong category. So we're just going to score it on the merit of each project. And we'll try to pair up panelists so that they're equally representing, a great number of projects. And then we'll have you guys scored, and it'll be an even playing field, except for the first and second year advantage versus the graduates and interns. So, and groups and teams. So in 2022, we used, and by the way, we're still working on the rubric. We'll send that to all the panelists, but in 2 years ago, we had Blue Sky and Concept. So they were scored from 1 to 5, storytelling, placemaking, guest narrative, sustainability and resiliency, and then technology use. So if you're not a great illustrator and you have some really cool invention, you'd score high in that. And then operations and management. Will this thing really work in real life? So if you calculate the TRC of your attraction and you have a budget, that's going to help you versus someone who just puts up concept art. Okay, so the rubric is still being developed. Jesse, unfortunately, was out of town on a business meeting, but he's putting that together. He's a doctor and he does it statistically, so it's all weighted and balanced perfectly. So, and then we're going to have our feedback sessions sometime late May, early June, and that will be at a time convenient to the panelists. And we have a special announcement actually from Freddie is going to be our announcer and presenter, and he's going to be revealing the actual winners. The last 15 minutes of the final feedback session, all the winners will be announced. And so that's something that we're changing. So you want to tune in for that.
We're trying to figure out how to do pyro for every announcement. I'm going to talk to the Anaheim Angels, figure out how they do it. That way, we got to celebrate this right.
Exactly. So we'll post this video on first of all,
Jamie's got pyro.
Yeah. We'll work on the pyro, and then any special effects guys who want to chime in, that's great. We'll send you the video on how to upload, and also this video will be posted as well, so you can recap any question and answers that you may have. So one more thing, we're grading this county fair style. We have a best in show, and then we'll have best in categories, and those will be the bulk of the awards. So, all right, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, thank you very much. Well, now I want to introduce your university partners who, I look at this list and I know these people with and their passion for seeing folks like you, the participants in this showcase, with just a passion for seeing you turn the page and go to your next level and increase your capacities and learn more to do more. And so I want to introduce each one of our university partners. First off, I hope he hasn't left yet. I think he's there. Oh, yeah, there he is. Christian Rogers from Purdue. Say hello.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, Chris Rogers, professor with Purdue University in themed entertainment and attraction design. Good to meet you all.
And Josh Polk as well from Purdue.
Hey, everyone. Nice to see you all. And I'm sorry I'm walking up the stairs right now to get to my office, but great to be a part.
We didn't hear any huffing and puffing. You sounded great. And then Peter Weissar from the University of Central Florida. He's there. He's hidden. There we are.
Here, there's just a little work going on. So
Thank you, Peter. MK Haley, University of Texas.
At Austin, there's 6 of us. I'm in the Austin campus.
Six Flags. And Jamie DeRuyter of Ringling College of Art and Design. Yeah, I see some hands waving over there. Got
Yes.
our Ringling.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Freddie, and welcome students to this great event. I look forward to seeing all the great work.
And then we have gathered today most of our panelists to introduce them to you, and just thrilled to have such a great dais of panelists to listen, review, and provide amazing support. I was on several of the panels last year, and the input that was given to each of the projects was just top notch. I mean, you're not dipping your toe in, you're going deep with our panelists. And so I'm going to go one by one to them, and please do raise your hand and say hello to everybody. And maybe just throw 1 or 2 words of preparation for the students if you have something to share. First, Michael Blau, president of Adirondack Studios. Welcome, Michael.
Hi, everybody. Really excited to do this in a format. I'm a previous educator too. I ran a theater program for years, and I'm a set designer also. Looking forward to how you express your ideas and tell the story. It's really, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you.
Awesome. Then we have Dave Cooperstein, architect and senior creative designer at PGAV.
Hi, yep, I'm Dave. My arms look insanely long for some reason. Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I've been at PGAV for 25 years. I've trained as an architect and spent the last 25 years doing architectural design and master planning and landscape and storytelling and show production and graphic design. So work with a lot of colleges and students on these types of events, and I'm really excited.
Fantastic. Then there's my fellow former Jungle Cruise skipper, Michael Libby. The green water never leaves your veins, so I think we're always skippers, no matter what. Hi, Michael.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Thanks for having me. It's great to see so many industry friends on this call. It's almost like a family reunion. It's really wonderful, and really great to see so many students that are interested in this as well. I'm a recovering creative writer turned technology R&D guy. So I'll be particularly interested in how you're using technology to support your stories. And I look forward to seeing what you have.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Next up, Heidi Hirsch, the director of project development at Reveal Studio. Hello, Heidi. She's just behind the picture. Heidi, you're muted if you are speaking. We'll come back. Next up.
Can you hear me?
There she is.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. somehow managed to crack the screen on my computer, so I am working now with my iPhone, and I'm not very good at that either. Anyway, thank you so much for the opportunity. I am totally excited. I started in this industry as a model builder, and I went into interior design, and I moved into project development, project manager. The heart of all this is your story and how you express your story. That's what I'm most interested in, but thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Heidi. Thanks for joining us. Alicia Hungerford, the senior creative producer at BRC Imagination Arts. So glad to have you on here this year.
Hi, yes, good to be here. Thank you so much for having me. My background's in history and marketing, so I was always really focused, and I started kind of from an intern into where I am today. So really excited to get in touch with you guys and talk about where you're at and how your storytelling journey is. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Wow, here's Frank Nunez from FrankNDesign, president. He's a good friend and somebody to get to know. Say hello, Frank.
I get a wow. That's it. I can't retire now.
I know.
No, I feel the love. Like Michael said, it's like a group of friends. We're at a TA mixer, and it's just awesome. I am newer to the industry than a lot of the really, really good 10-year veterans that are on this screen. I come from an architectural background, rudimentary hotels, hospitals, and just got really, really good at the technological side of that BIM. So found the niche in the world of thematic. So I work with all these creative folks. I am not creative. I'll say that out loud. Look to them for creative. I'm the technical guy that takes the music they write and plays it. So I'm going to be looking like Michael for how do you convey that idea? My IP, my creativity is taking something that is abstract and exploding that hopefully into something that can be consumed by a fabricator, by a construction or an architect and BIM. So
awesome. Thanks. Good to have you, Frank. And then not on the call right now, I don't think, is Bob Ward, the owner of Destinations and Experiences. He's a legend in the industry. He's on board with this as well. We'll get a chance to meet him later on, unless I'm not seeing him on here. I don't see him, right, Nate?
Yeah, he actually had a business trip and we knew about it. So he gives his regards and he'll be on the panelist discussion later on.
Yes. Lucky Duck gets to be on a business trip. Oh, if only I had one scheduled for this week. It's also a business trip week for a lot of us. Now our returning panelists, the amazing Louis Alfieri, Principal and Chief Creative Officer at RavenSun Creative. Say hello.
Hey there, everybody. How are you doing? Wonderful to be here and have the ability to participate again. Well, we've been contributing to the event since its inception, so we're really happy to be a member all along. And I'm also a Ringling graduate, so having left school and started as a concrete sculptor in the industry and worked my way up. Been a fabricator, designer, and now business owner for more than a decade. So I'm looking forward to all aspects of what you're creating and the holistic approach that each of you will take to expressing yourselves creatively and artistically in this endeavor. It's a real pleasure to be included. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Next up is Terry Brown, Senior Creative Director at Foric, amazing group. Terry, say hello.
Oh, here we go. Am I unmuted now?
You are on the air.
There we go. Hi, everybody. Oh, so good to be back with you, all you guys again this year, and welcome to the new people. You're really going to enjoy this. This whole creative exchange is valuable to all of us. I think we all really get off on what we learn from each other. And I'm, like everyone, really looking forward to the new work and the new exchanges. So thanks for having me back. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Next up is my friend Ryan Harmon, President and Chief Creative Officer at Zeitgeist USA. He's also a member at the Magic Castle. So if you ever want to just say hello, you can go to he's not. He's not a member of the Magic Castle.
I am.
Yeah. I got an invitation a couple weeks ago and could not make it. I just feel so terrible. But anyway, I'll get another invitation sometime soon. Ryan, say hello.
Freddie, Nate, thank you so much for having me back after the incident last year. I think the lawsuit's been settled, so we should be good. And hi, everybody. I'm Ryan Harmon. I'm the President and Chief Creative Officer at Zeitgeist Design and Production here in Pasadena. This is my 36th year in the industry, which is odd because I'm like 29, so do the math. And I'm also the co-host of the Spirit of the Time Zoomcast, which is the industry's pretty much only archive of wisdom and history, where we take people, icons, like many of the people here, on our time machine. And we have Anthony Esparza coming up next Friday. So all of our 33 episodes are available on the Zeitgeist website and on YouTube and wherever you get your Zoomcasts. I mean, podcasts.
It's such a fun show and really engaging. I love that show. Mark Spencer, creative director at Falcon's Creative Group. Say hello.
Hey everyone, glad to be here. Yep, creative director, master planner at Falcons. Like many of the panelists, I've kind of fallen in the industry. It's not something that many of us were educated in with a degree, so it's kind of fun to be a part of this, where universities are taking that on and having some good work to show for it. So my little intro word of advice is just make sure you're thinking with every step along the way of the guest experience of what this thing is that you're creating, because that's the biggest evaluator of anything we do in themed entertainment is what the guest's experience is. So good to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. And then Logan Zawicki, project manager at Sally Dark Rides. Say hello, sir.
What's up, everyone? I'm super stoked to be back to participate in this again. I'm former professor, now project manager, and at the same time, I'm currently a student 2 weeks away from completing my MBA. So I feel for all y'all with the deadlines and the crazy weeks coming up. So, huge congratulations to you for finishing up and also finding time to make these submittals and to participate in this awesome experience.
Thank you, Logan. Thank you very much. I'm also on the panel, so I'm excited to get involved. I'm project director at Storyland Studios, and I also host a podcast, the Themed Attraction Podcast, and lots of fun interviews there with folks in the industry. So I encourage you to check that out. But I also encourage you to, like Heidi said, stick with story. I've seen more and more emotional connection happening in attraction design these days, and to almost a point where you might catch a little tear like you would on a Hallmark movie, but on a theme park ride. How did that happen? And I always am looking for that emotional or deep transformational moment in things like that. So I love it when I see that. Well, that concludes our section on all of our panelists, but now we have time for Q&A, plenty of time for Q&A. So if you're thinking about your project now, if you're thinking about, you already have an idea, you're heading in a direction, this is a chance to ask our panelists and our university partners for feedback on where you're headed with that. Should I do this? Can I do this? Can I present my my project as a video? Can I do it in a variety of different ways? Please do. Right now is your opportunity to ask the questions, and we're open books, ready to answer. Who wants to go first? All right, Mimi.
Hi there. Thank you so much for everyone's time today. I understand that the portal will open on the 15th and we'll have a chance to submit probably like a design book or, depending on our project, some sort of documentation, and then possibly like a video presentation. Is there an opportunity to also talk to the panelists kind of like in a Zoom call about a project, or depending on people's time, it is really just submission based?
That's a good question.
We can always provide contact information. Just know that their time is valuable, so don't mob them. But if you have a specific question, or if you want to try to set up a Zoom, we absolutely can try to make that happen on a case-by-case basis.
Wonderful.
You also want to be careful regarding the integrity of the review process. Somebody who talks to you might know more about your project than you actually present, and all the reviewers are just reviewing your work based upon what's in front of them. So if you wanted professional feedback, we got a million. Just reach out, and it may be somebody else who's not a reviewer who might be more appropriate, maybe more appropriate to review your project and provide feedback before it goes to the panelists.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Could I also add, Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, but we usually have feedback sessions after the scoring process. And so if we're still planning those, I would highly encourage all the students to please plan to attend those. I think last year, maybe they were not as well attended as they could have been, which is a big missed opportunity because that really is your shot to talk to the panelists and get that feedback.
Awesome. Thank you. Sophie.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Hello from Ringling as well to all of my fellow Ringlingers out there. I have two questions. I have one that's more of a general overview and then one that's more specific about my project directly. So the general question I'll start with. Are we allowed to submit multiple different file formats? Because I know that for my project, I have like a presentation format, and then I also have like a story treatment script format. So are we allowed to submit multiple, or would you rather them be like one combined PDF?
I think the answer to this is that it's how to best convey your message to somebody who does not know what it is. Some people will make a making of, or this is my intention with this project, or talk about the design parameters. Some of these are design assigned coursework. So they'll say, hey, we were assigned to redesign this area at Cedar Point with these limitations. So if you tell the panelists what that is, then they have a better, they can say, oh, I see why you left this out because it wasn't part of the scope of the project. So try to paint the best picture as you possibly can using those resources. The one thing we don't want you to do is just post a link to your portfolio website and call that a day.
Yeah.
The idea is that you're actually putting something up on the showcase. So it's content for that. But you can always, and we talked about this last year too, you can post your supporting documents on links. Like if you have big drawings and development drawings, things like that, then your final presentation might be on the page, as well as a video. Video is not necessary, but it can help tell the story. So whatever it takes to convey your message is what you should do.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Awesome. No, that really is helpful. Thank you. And then my second question, which is the more specific one, my project exists within the context of a broader like class-wide project. Because we did land development and we like inherited a story and whatnot. Would we be encouraged to provide the context of that, or just whatever supports our direct project that we're submitting?
Yeah, provide context. Definitely the more that someone has to go by. I'll give you an example. Last year, Mike West said, this was not good because you didn't do this. Person just put up their script, their show writing script. And he's like, well, you should have fleshed this whole out and this whole project out. And he's like, no, it was just a script. So a little miscommunication. So the more you can guide the panelists, the better. And let me also give a little plug to MK Haley. She's not on the panel this year because she's on the university side of things, but she's excellent. And she will give you non-biased feedback that will not bias the panel. So go to her first, she'll give you all sorts of great feedback. So use her as your resource, and we'll post her information. I know that, yeah, there she is. She put her email in the chat. So use her, weigh on her because she loves doing this sort of thing. And so, yeah, I'll be quiet.
Well, and when we review them, sometimes it's like, oh, like if only they knew blank. This is a time for us to say, your project might not be done. Let us know, or like you said, for the landscape architecture work, everybody in this industry works on teams. We get that you work on teams. Show us the overview, but then really pull out what part you contributed to. If we have more context as to what we're looking at, and why you thought it was important to show it to us, it's much easier to provide relevant feedback.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate. Oh, sorry.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for the question. And if I can just selfishly make it easy on us with the types of files and the number of files that you put in. If you can, don't give us a one Word document over here, one Excel sheet over here, and a PDF with the creative in it. Certainly, if you can put it in a document, but from time to time we need to see, your video or whatever you're going to pull together. So try to make it easy on us so we don't miss anything. It can be easy in a series of links to miss that here's where the story exists. So have fun with that. That's great. Rosie.
Hello, thank you so much for your time, everyone. I'm so excited to get into this project. I wanted to ask specifically if there is a type of themed entertainment attraction that you prioritize looking at over others. For example, do you prefer dark rides or theme park attractions over escape rooms or retail experiences? Or is it just based on the project?
I think the answer is it's based on the project. There's some great, the winner 2 years ago was one of MK Haley's groups of students, and that was an escape room. Last year it was something else. The first year it was a resort concept. So yeah, it can be anything. It's just based on the merit of your project.
Yeah, and also back of house stuff is fine. Anything involved in the industry. Doesn't need to be guest facing. If you have a particularly brilliant costume distribution system, I don't know, I just made that up. Yeah, there's no limits.
Thank you.
That's great. Just following up on the last question, Jamie DeReuter said, if you can put it all in one PDF with the links inside, that's even more helpful as we go. Z, you're up. Oh, did we just lose Z? Or at least the hand went down.
I can tell you one thing we've really struggled with reviewing in the past is architecture students tend to put their portfolio in like a coffee table book, flat open format. And it's super hard to look at because it's so tiny in that format. If you print it out, it's probably like, 14 by 17, 2 pages. And so understand that the reviews are happening on somebody's computer, and make sure it's very legible from somebody's screen.
It's great. Zach, that's what Z stood for. Hello, Zach. How can we help? You're muted if you're speaking. He's tricking me, this Zach person. He's fooling me. Any other questions? Oh, he can't unmute. Oh, maybe that's you, Nate. You might have to unmute him. In the meantime, Rosie, you have another question.
Do you know if we will get to see the rubric before we receive our feedback and before we submit our designs? Or the grading or score rubric?
No.
Okay.
Typically you put up your design, then you get the feedback, and then we have the feedback session where you can actually talk to and ask questions about how they submit it. And so it's not a long process where, you've got a whole semester. The idea is that this is typically tied to a university program, and your university people are giving you feedback. So if you need that feedback and you don't have that, again, ask us. MK is a great person to go to, but we've got others if you need it. So yeah, in general, we do put up your story, see how it does, get your feedback. Then you have, they'll talk to you about the good and the bad of your things. And then you can ask questions or provide context during the feedback Zoom sessions.
Thank you.
You want to be super careful to avoid IP. If you have no right to use that content, please don't use it.
Yeah, we did score things down last year for some of that as well. Also, Zach was asking, are show systems like animatronics and illusions valid submissions, and MK answered yes, absolutely. If you've got a trick you want to try, share it with us and tell the story well.
And that could be, if it's a tech demo, that could be a hacky old video in your garage, right? But just let us, what's important for you to show us. If it's that you're technically proficient, then show that Arduino board, open the hatch, let us look inside.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, Freddie, if I could jump in about Rosie's question about, seeing the rubric, I would just encourage the students to think about this as a showcase and not a competition. And so you don't really necessarily need to play to the rubric and try to score higher. all of us on the academic side are all operating under the assumption that our students are submitting work that has been done for a class. It's already been graded based on our criteria. The rubric we're using for this is more just to, kind of like provide a framework for everybody to give feedback. And so, I again, I would just stress not to worry too much about trying to, increase your score or score higher. It's really just a framework to have the conversation, I think, if that's fair. Nate, if you think that's a fair assessment of that.
I agree. Good point.
Lewis?
Yeah, I'd like to add that I think, and I'll say something sacrilegious here for the other designers on the call, but I think there's a lot more opportunity. There's always a reliance on the Themed Entertainment Association to kind of paint this narrative that everything has to have a story. I don't agree with that from a design standpoint. I think that you have the ability, when you look at sports, you look at museums, you look at interactives, you look at other contemporary experiences like Meow Wolf and other things that have a multi-branching, multi-format narrative that are not reliant on simply using kind of a 3-act story or a linear story, that there's a lot more opportunity, especially with what's happening with game engines these days, to explore things from a totally different perspective. And that when we look at sport and we look at these other kinds of experiences, that there is a new opportunity to engage in the industry, to push it, to transform it in ways that go beyond the traditional perspective of what we expect. So when we look at a current theme park or we look at a dark ride, we have the impression that it has to have a story like a film does or like a book does. But I think the technology that's available that young people have access to now gives us a new way to interpret content and to engage audiences that gives you new mediums. So I guess what I'm trying to say is don't limit yourself to the traditional format of thought, is to engage new opportunity and see how you can push that. And I think that that will be great for the industry and the association as well.
Awesome. Yeah, good. Any other questions? Comments, rejoinders? Let's see. Haley has a note here on the side, wondering if you could elaborate on the submission format. If I'm submitting a PDF, would you like to see an introduction about me slide? Anything that must be required for the submissions? Additionally, would you like to see any process or just the final product? Folks, good question.
I'll answer that one because that was one of my comments. I remember last year that I think showing your work is a great way to get a better score, if you would, or just for us to be able to understand your process. There was a few projects last time that had great art, but there wasn't the content. We didn't know what it really was saying or what it was the point was. And so I think having even mood boards and some of the other stuff we use in the industry to help show some of how you got to the end product is more helpful for us as people that are evaluating these quickly.
Heidi? Uh-oh, she's muted. Hopefully that's not on Nate's end.
Unmuted. Lewis, I loved what you had to say, and I agree with you on some level. I think traditional storytelling is changing. And so what we considered to be the story and to follow it traditionally is much different. And so for me, the story could be anything you present. That is the story. It's how you articulate it and it's how you express it is what the key to it for me. So it's a sports game. It's still, to me, in some way, a story. The experience starts the minute you think about doing it. For many of us raised in California and going to Disneyland, the experience starts when I think about going to Disneyland. It's not about when you get there, even though at my age, there were avocado trees around Disneyland. And when I saw the avocado trees, that's when I knew that the Matterhorn was just on the other side of those avocado trees. So story is definitely changing the world of VR, AR, XR. Michael Libby and I will always go back and forth about that. And what does that mean, Ryan? And so think about your story, not necessarily in a traditional way.
Great.
Well, the story could also be you, the story of me. I started doing this and then I moved to this, and now I'm a technical subject matter on that, which anyone else can apply to another type story. It's a showcase of your technical proficiencies, your areas of interest and passions. It's not necessarily a attraction anyone's going to pull a checkbook out and fund.
That's right.
Agreed.
Any other questions, comments? Wow.
I'll add something real quick. Just for those of you making submissions, there is such a thing as information overload. So I know we're saying context is great, provide us with extra information, but realize if you put too much and it's 100-page PDF document, that's not going to work in your favor. I'm just throwing that out there right now. That's too much information. So please just put in information, make sure that it's the information that helps sell whatever your idea is, whatever the thing is you're trying to showcase. Make sure it's all about that. So for instance, process pages are great, but we don't need 30 pages of every single sketch you made. Summarize it, really get to what's most important to get your message across in the most condensed, solid way you can. So just like in school, your teachers don't want you giving an hour-long presentation when every student has to get everything done in an hour. So think that way as well, your elevator pitch and getting the point across as quickly and succinctly as possible.
Yeah, and feel free to include it. In the past few years, we've reviewed a lot of sheer dynamic math on coaster proposals. That gives a lot of credibility to your project. But you can't presume that all the judges will review it. Like we don't have 3 or 4 hours per submission. So if you do want to provide that supplemental content, be sure to label it very, very clearly. And if you're interested in how I got this math, here's my math.
It's great. Yeah, and actually go back and I believe the past submissions are still online, and look at what the ones who have achieved the most on those, the ones in the top spots, review them. The part of some of those was the presentation was so well put together that it was real easy to get right to what it was with their ride or their experience. All right. Anybody else want to share a comment? Any of the committee and panelists have any other moments and words of encouragement here? This is your shot.
Do we need to remind people where this came from? It's been a while now, and what the intent is. Nate was all, oh crap, COVID. Everybody lost their jobs and there's no internships. And internships is such a valuable place to get professional feedback. And it's not just on, did you do the assignment? Is it an A or an F? It's about process. It's about working on teams. And it's about getting dirty and hip waders at midnight. So he set this program up very specifically to kind of fill the gap for students who weren't rubbing elbows with industry professionals. We're all back, now in offices or our home offices. But that's still the intent, is provide you these connections and these opportunities for professional and industry related feedback that you might not otherwise have an opportunity to get.
Yeah, I love that. All right.
Absolutely.
Oh, I do see a hand. I see your hand there, Dave.
That's okay. I just thought of something. My advice to students who are submitting is to think, when you're putting your presentation together, think macro to micro. I've seen a lot of student presentations that dive right into the details, and I just don't understand the context. Start, what's the big idea? And then kind of work your way down to the details from there. It just helps evaluate the project in a reasonable way. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, nothing personal, Lewis, but it's not a magic show. There's no big ta-da at the end. We need context. Say, this is a water park, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm like, wait, what are we talking about? Why let me know what the thing is right off the bat. and then give me the details on what that thing is, unless you are a magician doing a magic show.
Super. Well, if there aren't any other hands being raised in the moment, I think we can thank everybody here who is a panelist or on the committee. We're just so thrilled that everyone has joined in this. This is a wealth of knowledge and understanding and curiosity. And we all have sort of a heart for seeing your best come next. And thank you for joining us. We're excited to get started. Questions as you go, please do direct them to Nate and MK and anybody else that should be noted. Nate, just want to make sure the communication flow is correct.
Yeah, you can reach out to me, and I can direct you to anyone that you need to.
Perfect.
There was one question that came in from Zach here. Do we need multiple registrations per submission? Each person who's submitting should create a profile on themedattraction.com. If you're a team, then the one form allows you to fill out all the team members on one form. So you just list everyone there. So hopefully that answers the question.
Good. All right. Well, thank you all. I'm waving my clappy hands, my Zoom clappy hands. You guys are great. We're looking forward to seeing this happen here just before the summer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.